So we are going to see about the reconciliation. So reconciliation in the sense whether if the record wants to get updated. So we know about transform maps in the service now, correct? So usually what we used to do, we used to select a police field. So once it already find the same police field in the sense, it is going to update the same record. Else, if it doesn't find any kind of primary common fields with the same value, then it is going to create a new record. In the same way, here also, the reconciliation engine rules will be running that. So once it will go and find whether we are having a same serial number or not. So once it finds the same serial number, it will update the record. Else, it will create the new one. So here data refresh rule in a sense, okay. So whenever the CI turns stale for a discovery source and allowing the CI to be updated by the lower priority authorized discovery source. For example, stale in the sense we are not using that particular CI for the very long time, or we are not the CI has not been used for the many long time in the sense we can write a data refresh rule for any one of the discovery source, it can update or it can respond to the particular data refresh rule. For example, take an example. We are having a particular Windows machine and we are having a CA in our system, but that particular computer is not has been used for a very long time. Now we need to write a data refresh rule like for every 2 months, 3 months, 1 month. So any of the discovery source has to go and find out whether this particular CI is working or not. To make the CI turn stale from the discovery source, so we are just need to write the data refresh rules. Okay, for example, if I show you over here, so which discovery source I need to give, like cloud or even management, whatever it is, imports it. If I give service now over here in a sense, effective durations like how many days, for example, if I give 30 days and save in a sense. This refresh rules will be running in the system to see whether all the Linux server is working or not. Okay. The next one is the suggested relationship. So how we are going to see the relationship between the, so this is the Linux server. What are the top relation it has and what are the lower relation it has? We go and see only the outbound or sorry, let's see the inbound alone. You can see over here it is showing only the upper level inbound alone. For example, it can be an ESX server that can be connected to the Linux server. It can be an any kind of circuit or server computer. So all these are the onward server that is connecting to the Linux one. If I go and click on outbound and if I filter the inbound in the sense, it is showing what are the other dependencies and suggestion relationship we have with the other Linux. For example, if you see over the Linux server, it is showing the owns and owns by relationship over here. Here it is virtualized relationship. It is contains and contains by relationship. Like the depends on depends by relationship, it is showing up. So if you have seen our owns and owns by, it is showing the DNS name, network adapter. These are the few things that relationship that the Linux server has with the other CIs within the same host. Guys, can you able to understand this? Hello. Okay. So now you can see the CI list. Before going into this particular one, can any one of you just go through? Can any one of you open the CI class manager and try to do with the some of the basic stuff and configuration? Can we do a practical session now? What happened to everyone? Everybody are so silent. May I know the reason behind it?
Good. Okay, ma'am. I am opening my personal development instruments.
Sorry?
I am opening my first PD now.
Okay. Who's that actually? Okay,
Anushka.
Anusha. Okay.
But
Nikita, what about you?
I am using, but I am using Sunday version.
Okay. So you have to try it out this CI class manager, basic info, try to add an attribute and see, and then try to add identification rules also. Now I'm trying to go and run a discovery source on behalf of the Linux IP address. Okay, I'm going to the discovery. I already have a Linux IP address with myself, so I'm going to run the Linux IP address for that. So, so now I'm going to run a discovery on the same. Let me take the IP address of that one. So my IP address is 198.51. This is my IP address. So let me go to the discovery schedules. Go to the quick discovery. It has to be dot. Now I'm going to run this discovery. So the discovery starts running in the system and it is going to identify what type of CI we are going to have now. So now if we come and see over here in the ECC queue, now what happened? The session probe. We do have four phases in the discovery, right? One is the like so one is like an scanning, classification, identification, and exploration. In a scanning session, the session probe used to launch all these probes. WMI is Windows, SNNP is SNNP, SSH is the Linux, so HTTP, WINS, DNS, every other ports it used to launch in the session probe. Okay. Once over here, it is classifying this one as an Unix mission. Unix classify it is showing to us. So this is where the identification section takes place, whether we are giving some of the identification rules to run in a system correct, like whether the serial number is matching, or whether the serial type, number type, or the some other name, value, whatever it is. So here it is helping us to find the what type of mission or what type of device we are scanning in the third party. Guys, guys, this is where it will be finding whether it is an Unix machine or Linux machine or Windows machine in the system. Okay, Unix, Linux, or Windows. Okay, uh, Ambika, Ambika, could you please reply? Ambika? Guys, what you did you all understand from the CMDB CI, guys? Why we are going for this identification and reconciliation engine?
Because when you are running the discovery, you'll have to identify to which one it has to go, correct? So based on this, it will be going to that correct record.
Whether it is a Windows machine or Linux machine, everything we need to classify it. So that is where we are
Yes,
going for this. And another important thing is the classifiers we have. We know that is an Windows machine, correct? But still
yes,
we doesn't know what version of Windows it is. Whether it is Windows 2012, Windows 2010, Windows 2016. So this is the discovery of the classification of the Windows. Even though it is from the same table called Windows Server table, still we want to know what version of Windows it is. So once the classification phase is done, this is where the identification go and check what type of Windows Server machine it is. So in this table only, it will come and search whether how it is for example, take an Windows 12 2012 server. So to find whether the machine is the Windows 2012, it will come and search whether it is the name contains 2012, whether the full OS name contains the server. If this three condition gets matched in the sense, then the discovery will tell you, hey, this is Windows 2012 server. Whatever the host machine has been identified, that is an Windows machine, and the version of the Windows machine is the Windows 2012 server.
okay,
Okay.
yeah,
The same way we do have the same way for everything like all CMI for Unix machine. If we need to find for the Unix machine, if we need to find in a sense, you can come over here and you can find the see it is showing the HPUX and AX, ESX, Linux machine, Mac OS, Solaris. So like that, it is giving us what type of Unix machine it is. So we have run one discovery, right?
yes,
We have run one discovery, right? In the discovery you can find few of the details of the discovery. This is the status of the discovery and how this. So once it is launching this one, correct, in the input you could see few of the things how it is being classified as the Linux and Unix machine. Here in the payload, if you come down, you could see few of the information that has been already comes from the system. Okay, can you see over here? There are some parameters that is passing, and it is saying the classification probe value is this one, the credential ID is this one, and the result ID is this one. So this is the classification probe what I was talking about. 10 point E something it is showing, correct? This is what the
yes,
classification probe that I am talking about. So if you see the classification in the sense, now if you have, for example, it finds an Linux machine also, correct? But we do
mm-hmm.
have a classification criteria over here. And the okay, I will tell you about the classification criteria now. So once it want to find the particular device is an Linux machine or Unix machine in the sense, there is a classifier that runs into a system to find this particular value. Okay,
Okay,
if you see this Unix in the sense, how this Unix finding this as a Linux machine or Mac OS, all these things will be comes from the discovery only. Okay, just give me 1 minute.
okay,
So like then discovery classify windows, we do have a separate table for the Linux X discovery classify Unix. With this only it will be finding the relevant records of the classifiers. Once we find that the machine is the Linux machine in the sense, then All these trigger probes will also be get embedded into system one by one if it finds to explore something. Here the next level it is going to launch this particular probe, which is the this particular pattern, which is the Linux server. In the discovery itself you can find that name as Linux server. Can you see over here? Once it able to find the particular Linux machine, the next triggers, what are the next triggers it is finding over there? Those triggers will be launched within this server. Okay, okay, guys, can you able to understand these things? Anyway, I will be
Could you please?
explaining about this Unix classifier and everything in detail. Here it is telling, see, parameter name, use class, and the value is discovery class Unix. Here it is finding that is an Unix machine, and it is finding the value of the privilege command that is coming from the Unix machine, and the probe parameter number is 10e something, and the port to probe value is 97 this one. So all these are the separate tables where we have that value in it. Okay.
Priscilla, if I may interrupt you for one moment.
Yeah.
Actually, I understood the classifiers. Based on the classifier, you're, rerouting your discovery records to be inserted into that particular Windows or Unix based on their versions. But what is the
Yeah.
purpose of a probe? What is it doing?
Probes are the like an command that is sent from here to Smith server. Okay, and it will go and do some research, and the sensors are the one which used to get the output and send it as an input to the ServiceNow instance. Okay.
Okay.
So this is what happening over here to find this bad things. So here in the CMDB CI, once it finds as a Linux machine in the sense, we do have few of the identification, correct? Yesterday, the previous session we have seen serial number and all the identification. So it will go and check whether the serial number that is coming from the system. Okay. For example, this is the input from the value, correct? The pattern. Here, if you see, it comes with an error. If you see, it will be matching from here and there. Okay, how? In the sense, it will go and check for the all the values that are getting matched with the system. The pattern and the value is the Linux server. This is the identification probe. But here what happened, it is getting failed. Can you see? Identification section in pattern fails. And it is saying relation or reference table CMDB serial number is not known the CI type. Check the discovery logs for more detail. There is an error has been thrown over here. Now I want to go and check the discovery logs. Failing to explore the CI. Can you see? Let me check what is the error we are having over here. Failed exploring CI pattern, and it is saying that some of the message has been comes over here. There is a failure over here. For that failure, first I want to go and check the credentials of this one. Okay, discovery credentials, Unix server credentials. I need to go and check test credentials. The credential is validated, so there is no issue with the credentials. The next thing is pattern is not launching as we expect. That is the issue over here. So next thing we need to check what is the issue with the pattern that we are launching over here. What is the issue it is? having. Okay. Up to this, any doubts for everyone? Anyone?
It's
Now,
clear
Hello,
for me.
ma'am.
yes,
Can you elaborate about Shajam? What means by Shajam?
Session Pro. Okay. Session is the okay. Now we are jumping from slowly. We are jumping from CMDB to discovery. Okay. Session is a probe. Okay. Think an example. First of all, you need to know how the discovery sits in the third party system. Correct. Then only you can
Yes.
understand about the session probe. Let me share my another screen. Can you able to view my screen?
Yes.
So usually what happens is then we used to install the mid server in the client location. Okay. So whatever happens, one of the device we will be launching this mid server, and that mid server will be connected to the one of the instance. Okay, it can be a client's instance also. So whatever we want from the client's network, we used to run that we used to run that discovery, and we used to get the value for the particular devices through the mid server. So how it will be in the sense, for example, this is the enterprise firewall. Within that firewall, one of the mission we used to install the mid server. So once we run the discovery, the mid server and go and check with the each and every mission credentials and everything, and will and it will get back the information of the credential if we have. So once the credential part is done, first of all, we used to populate the credentials in the credential table. Once we validate the credential, if we again run the discovery against any one of this device's IP address, then then this device will be opened by the credentials, and all the information of the system will be goes to the instance and stored in the C- CMDB. Okay. And it will go and stored in the CMDB. Okay, guys, first try to remember. First, we are having a clients, correct? In the client location, in one of the system, we will be downloading this mid server and we will be installing it. Once we installed it, we used to connect the mid server with the ServiceNow instance. Okay, using the instance name and user ID and password. There is a config file in the mid server. We used to map all those details with the instance. After getting all these done, we will be running the system to get the proper information of each and every devices in the system. Okay. Sorry. Sorry, I don't understand. What was the question?
I asked about Shajam program.
Huh?
I asked about Shajam program.
Yeah, Session Pro, what it will do in the sense, once we are launching the discovery, it will go and launch all the probes because it doesn't know, right, what type of machine it is, whether it is Linux machine or Windows machine. Nothing, it just knows about the system, correct? So what it will do in the sense, it will launch all the probes in the system. It will go and launch all the probes in the system to find what type of probe it is, what type of machine it is. So once it able to find the machine as the Windows, Linux, or whatever it presents, then it will be, once the classification is done, according to that discovery patterns will be launching into the system. Okay.
Okay. How many types of props are there?
Sorry, how many types of?
Props are there in CMDB.
We
Like
do have
all types
multiple
of
types of.
props.
Okay, I can show you that.
Example, basically,
Incoming call from Amaya.
So these are the names of the probes we use to launch a system. It can be Windows, SNMP, SSH, HTTP, WINS, DNS, SLP.
basically,
These are the probes that is being launched into the system. Okay. Up to this, any questions? Sorry.
where we can check all these details, ma'am. Like
Ah,
where you
your voice is too low, Nisha. What is it?
where where can we
Where
hello?
can we? Yes, yes, I can hear you. What is it?
Where can we get all these details, ma'am? Where? How?
Mm-hmm. You're asking where we are getting all this information.
Yes, ma'am. All this information from where?
Usually in the probes and ports, we do have multiple kind of information that is in the system. Okay, probes and port probes we have. Just give me 1 minute. This is where you will be getting all this information. Okay, whether it is Windows, Linux, generic TCP, conditional, true, false, all these things will be launched within the CIs. Okay, if you give the CIs as being true and showing true, these are the only things that will be launched in the session 1. Okay, can you see WMI, Windows, VMI, everything are you seeing over here? Discovery port probes. This is where it is, we are just launching the session probe into a system. Any doubts in this?
No, nothing, ma'am. But Linux and Unix are two different types of things in
Hmm?
CMDB, right?
Sorry?
Like Linux and Unix are two different things.
Yeah.
But
And
here
how it is finding the Linux in the Unix,
discover
correct?
you are running discovery Linux server discovery you are running.
Hmm? You are
So in the
asking me how it
classification
is
we show,
finding that one as Linux, correct?
no, ma'am. Linux and Unix are both different things. Here you are discovering about Linux server. But
Yeah.
in classification it is showing like Unix classified. How can this
Unix
showing like
classified. It
Unix?
is just a name that is
Yes.
coming from this table, okay? That is something coming from this particular table, okay? If it
Not
founds
in this,
the
I mean discovery.
wait,
In
I'll show
discovery.
you. The discovery, once it find out that the mission is the SSH in the sense, directly it will tell you that that is the Unix classification. Okay, it will tell you if that particular trigger probe is true, then it will classify that mission as Unix classified. Okay, this is where the answer comes. Okay, are you able to understand this one?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
If the find out that is an WMI in the sense Windows, if find that is the mission name has the SSH in the sense, then it will make the trigger probe says that it is classified as Unix classified. This is where the names comes for the SSH mission identified, or it is scans for the SSH. Fine. Any doubts on this one? Now did you get the
No,
answer?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. So once you run the discovery or something else, it will be going to give you like, wait, it is going to tell you the result as open port. Okay, we control F, open. Can you see the results over here? Banner TCP port number is 22 and port to probe is SSH, and the result is showing open. If the result is open and the service is SSH in the sense, then it will find that as an Unix classified. Okay, whatever, this is the port number 22. Port number 22 in the sense that is an Linux machine. Port number 135 in the sense that is Windows machine. According to the port number, if if the port is open in the sense, and it will see the port number and the port probe session over here. Within this open port, it is finding that the particular machine that is responding to this IP address is the Linux machine.
అనుష
Okay.
ఇప్పుడు ఇచ్చేస్తారని చెప్పారు. ఇక్కడే చేస్తున్నారు వర్క్. నేను చెప్పాను కదా! ఈరోజు కూడా వర్క్ అవుతుందని. ఇంకొక ఇందాక 1 అవర్ అన్నాడు. మేబీ బై 12:30 ఇచ్చేస్తాడు.
Could you please talk in English?
నేను చెప్పేసాను వాళ్ళకి వెయిట్ చేయమని. చేస్తామని చెప్పారు. సంతోష్‌కి ఇంకా శుభంకి. నేను తీసుకొని నీకు చెప్పేస్తాను అనూష. అలాగే. యెస్
Could you
ప్లీజ్. నేను
please
వాళ్ళ
go
ముగ్గురిని
and mute?
చేసి మీకు
Uh,
ఇచ్చేస్తాను స్కోర్. మాది సురభి నాకు డివైస్ రాలేదని చెప్పింది తను.
Yeah. So now you people can understand how if you launch the session probe and it finds any one of the port to be open and port probe it used to check, and with the port probe it will come and tell you what type of machine it is. If it is classify the Unix in the sense within the Unify, the next level it will classify what version of Unix machine it is. Okay. Any doubts till now, guys?
In for discovery, in before, hello, ma'am.
What?
Hello.
Yeah.
In before discovery, we get a failed notification like error message.
Hmm.
Can you, can you explain about that error message?
Error message. Okay, when I'm trying to
Mm.
explain you about the pattern, I can explain you about that error message. Okay, up to the classification, are you all clear about this classification? Session
Uh,
probe open result, it will find the port and port probe. After that it will classify
depending
as a
up-
Unix machine. Huh?
depending upon port number only, it can be code.
Yeah, yes,
Depending upon port number only. Like
yes,
which belong to which class and all these things.
yeah, yes. And once it find the classification, then you came to know that how it is classifying the version of the machine, right? Guys, am I correct? Am I sounds understandable how it is actually?
Yes, ma'am, all good.
Okay, fine. So tomorrow while coming up, go and search for each and everything and the port that is related to it. Okay, for Windows in a sense 120, 135, Unix in a sense 22. Like that, you go and search for all type of the things and come. And tomorrow I may be asking the port number along with the machines. Okay. Okay. I'm just winding up the session for today's. From tomorrow onwards, it is a regular timing 10:30 only, not 11 o'clock. Okay. So tomorrow onwards, you can join at 10:30 itself. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay.